What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Extreme Kitchen Makeover. Looking pretty sharp. We got all of the cabinets set. We have the countertops in. We even have the hood in, which means we need to get the floor in so that we can put the appliances on top of that floor. You're gonna want some various tools to help make this job easier for you. You do want spacers so that you can make sure you have a consistent 1/4 inch of spacing all the way around, because LVP does expand and contract a little bit. You do want to make sure you don't have super long runs. Like, you don't want anything over 100 foot, which we're obviously okay in this room, but I have seen that be a problem with different projects I've done in the past. You will want a multi-tool. We are going to be using a miter saw to make some cuts on this beautiful Flooret flooring. And obviously, get yourself some child labor to bring all of the flooring into you so that you don't have to get up and down as many times. Regardless of whether you are installing LVP on a completely new surface or doing a remodel, like in our case right now, you do want to make sure that you have spacing all the way around the floor so that it can expand and contract correctly. So I'm using the multi-tool to take off some of the shims that we use for installing the cabinets to make sure we can get that gap right close to the cabinets. And then we're peeling off the remaining underlayment from the previous floor, and we'll pull up the rest of that floor and carpet that we have in this space as well. And then the kids were very excited to help pull up all of the staples. You want to make sure those are completely out of there, because that will transfer through the material over time, and you might get a little bump, or you might just be able to see it, even if you might not be able to feel it. So you do want to make sure you got everything nice and clean, all the staples gone, any chunks of sheetrock mud or anything like that you want to make sure is out of the way. Now in my case, I do want to make sure that everything is nice and square. Obviously, unless you got something special I don't know about, you can't move the walls. So you got to make sure that you are aligned within the walls to the best of your ability. So I'm taking a bunch of measurements from all four corners to make sure we're more or less in the middle, and then from that middle I'm going to measure to both sides. And then in the case of where we're going to start, I'm going to go ahead and strike a chalk line so that I can obviously reference under the toe kick of the cabinets, and now I have a line out towards the outer wall as well. We always knew when we started this kitchen remodel that we wanted to go with a luxury vinyl plank flooring of some kind. We looked at various different samples from the home centers. We kind of honed in on one that we thought we liked, but then we took another look and we wanted to look around further for a product that had a thicker wear layer so that we could have essentially a commercial warranty in this kitchen. And that's when we stumbled upon Flooret. We perused the Flooret website for some time and honed in on a couple of products that we thought we really liked, and it's very, very convenient. You can order up some samples that come in a couple of days' time. This is the Signature Modine line. It's a luxury vinyl plank flooring that is 100% waterproof, scratch resistant, pet proof. It has underlayment attached to it already. And the Signature line has a 40 mil wear layer, which is leading the industry. You can also, which I found this to be really cool, select different bevels in the Signature line. We actually went with the micro bevel because this is in a kitchen. We thought that any food that might get in those bevels, it will come out easier if we have a micro bevel versus the enhanced bevel. So these are the couple of samples that we got in from Flooret, shipped directly to our door, and we settled on Nakan, which is what you can see beautifully displayed in the kitchen right now. It is a 9-inch wide by 72-inch long plank, so it covers a lot of ground as you go for the install. And they have transitions and reducers that match the Nakan line to transition from different sections of the house to different sections of floor. Flooret is direct to consumer, meaning you're cutting out the middleman. You don't have to go to the hardware store. You can get those samples shipped directly into you, and they have one-on-one customer support if you need it. And I can actually personally attest to this, because the flooring got stuck in the XPO terminal over a weekend, and we wanted to get it in so that we could install on a Saturday. So I was able to call Flooret, get get authorization to personally go to the terminal about an hour away from our house and pick up the product at about 8 o'clock on a Friday night so that we could get right to installing on the weekend. So their customer support is fantastic. Make sure you check out Flooret.com. Order up some samples. They usually have great deals on those so that you can get your eyes on some of the beautiful product like you're seeing right here. When the guys at XPO dropped this pallet into the truck, I was very pleased with the packaging. Everything was protected very well, had a nice sheet of plywood on the top, corner protectors, and whatnot. So very happy with that delivery process. We started bringing it into the house, opening up the boxes, and boy, this stuff is very pretty. And the kids are very excited to help. Good job, Colin. Set them down. Nice. We did open up 3 or 4 different boxes, and as we worked down a line of flooring, we would make sure to pull from different boxes. So just in case there was a particular box that was very light, we didn't want a light patch right next to each other. So again, open up 3 or 4 boxes. That is a good recommendation for any type of flooring you are doing. Here you can see I'm referencing that line, that chalk line that we struck, and I'm also using those spacers to make sure when I push in over here that I'm not closing up that 1/4 inch gap against the cabinet to make sure we have plenty of room for the expansion. That spacing around your flooring is very, very important. In the case of the room that we're doing right now, it's not very long, but I have personally seen and had to fix an expansion problem on probably an 80-foot run of LVP. There was a portion that was not conditioned as well, and it actually bubbled up. So we had to make sure there was an expansion joint in that process. So don't undervalue the spacing around your floor. One very noticeable attribute about this Modine flooring from Flooret here is that it is sturdy. So you cannot score and snap this like you might, like I have previously done from floors from the home center. You have to cut it no matter what you're going to do, whether it's a circular saw, miter saw, or jigsaw. There is no snapping anything. And because of the 9-inch width of these beautiful floor panels, I actually have to tip up the product on my miter saw to make sure I can reach that full cut. But if you're careful there, you're going to get a nice clean cut anyway. Another thing that we've definitely noticed, you have to insert the shorter end, so the 9-inch wide end, and then tip up to snap the 72-inch wide section in. Once we got that kind of figured out, it was easy going doing this install. Obviously, there is a way you work with a big tongue and groove as you're installing this flooring, but if you have to go backwards like I'm doing right now, it really wasn't that difficult to insert the tongue under the accepting groove and snap everything in place as well. If you have a water line or electrical line that needs to go through the flooring, it's easy pickings with a paddle bit or a step bit to drill through this floor as well. Here is a good example of what I was mentioning earlier. You want to get the 9-inch length section snapped together and then kind of tip it up, and you can get the longer section snapped in relatively easily. Almost nowhere, except on portions where I could not get my fingers into the grooves, did we use a hammer on this. We were able to pretty much snap everything together. Yes, you do need your power tools to cut this at all, as I mentioned earlier, but you don't need any special blades on those power tools. Here we're just cutting a very, very thin portion that is going to wrap around the island. And here's an example of a spot where I need more than my fingers to be able to snap this together. So you can use an LVP crowbar tool or just a screwdriver against a toe kick of the cabinet like this to snap it in place. And if you pay attention, you can hear that satisfying snap as you're working along. So Tyler, what do you do if you have a small low spot in your floor? What a great question. So here we have a spot that's perfectly level, but it has an indent, so it has a low spot that we're going to fill in. I like to use tar paper. In the past, if it was a big problem, I would use a shingle because you can build up much faster, but in this case, I think it was 3 layers of tar paper is all we needed. Stapled them in place with a slab stapler, and again, make sure those staples are hammered down so that you don't transfer that visibility through the LVP. On this Modine being as thick as it is, I don't know if you'd actually see that, but I would always recommend doing that just to be sure. and we are looking fantastic now, ready to get into open space and run free. But wait, not so fast. We talked about a low spot. What happens if we have a high spot? So right here, we have a little bit of a bump where this house original construction was actually modular, where the two portions came together. There was a little bump. I've seen much, much worse in my time and able to repair it. And what I'm going to do is actually use a battery-operated power planer and a belt sander to knock this down, sand it smooth, and that bump is going to be virtually gone. If you were able to see the close-up that I'm seeing right now, every time I plane over that, it gets much, much better. I didn't have to go out very far to resolve this bump. Like I said, I've fixed much, much worse this way, but this is a very quick method, a little bit dirty, to make sure that hump is gone, and it turned out beautifully. Completely from one end to another, it's about 26 foot. There is almost no variations in the elevation, and the floor is perfectly flat. And now we are really ready to power through and put down a lot of square footage very quick. Here you can see where the kids are pulling from 3 different boxes, again, to make sure we don't have any blotchy areas. And yes, it went down very fast. We did have to make some crazy 45-degree cuts around the hearth for the miter place. And once we get towards the wall, we obviously need to take some measurements, go back to our circular saw, cut everything down, and then snap it in. And this is really the only time I had to take out the flooring crowbar and a hammer to make sure the flooring was snapped together. Other than that, it was all with some elbow grease. Now here going around the front door, we had some pretty funky cuts to make. So I used this little, I don't know what you call this thing, a jaspecker? A jaspecker? I don't know what, that's just the name. But anyway, this you're able to push up against the trim, outline exactly what you need to cut, and then here was where we were able to use the jigsaw to make quick work of cutting that profile so that we had a relatively snug floor fit against the door trims. Obviously, you don't want to make sure you're too tight because the gap, we need to mind that gap and make sure we're not too tight. And here you can see a close-up of the floor going in once we were able to get all those cuts done, snapped right into place, and it was a perfect cut. While it was a good cut being the last piece that was tied up against the wall, it was a little bit complicated to get this one snapped together. I had to hold one side down with my foot, and Benny and myself had to really put some elbow grease in there to make sure everything was snapped together. By the way, that's Benny. Benny's probably watching. What's going on, Benny? Thanks for the help. At this point, we have got all the flooring installed, and it is looking awesome, but we need to do something around the hearth with a reducer, and then we need to add some transitions to go to other portions of the floor. So this is like an end cap. I think I called it a reducer before, but Flooret has these end caps where you can actually put down a little receiving channel that will hold down your end caps. These come in the various different colors of the flooring that they offer, and you can cut them down with your power tools, like I am using the miter saw very carefully here, because I do want to make sure I don't snap anything, because I only have so much of this. You need to have an appropriate offset so that this can be accepted into that receiving channel that you're going to bolt to the floor. So I opened that up with the multi-tool, and in my case, because I couldn't actually get an offset measurement based on the fact that I was going between something like the floor and the hearth, I am actually going to use liquid nails to fasten everything permanently in place. And we couldn't get a measurement for that offset because the hearth is not actually straight, and we didn't want to bend anything and throw off our 45-degree miters, which turned out pretty great. So we're just going to resort to liquid nails. I personally have a love-hate relationship with liquid nails. There has been so many projects where I've been tearing liquid nails apart from someone else's poor work, but it does come in handy every so often. So we goobered some liquid nails in there, made sure the miters were perfect, and taped it down into place for the liquid nails to set up. A few moments later, a few days later, we pulled the tape off and everything was fastened in place perfectly. Later we will go back and we will put some thin set into that gap, paint it white like the rest of the brick, and we will be perfectly ready to rock and roll.
They're folding up right now.
Now that we got that hearth end cap done, it's time to do some transitions. Much easier because I can get a good offset measurement using a scrap transition piece, and I can actually screw down that receiving channel with a couple of screws, and then everything snaps into place. And this was kind of satisfying, like a good chiropractic adjustment, snapped in place, everything was nice and snug.
Lisa, where's your thing?
Well, I think we are about done with that floor install, and boy, is it looking fantastic. It sounds great. It doesn't sound like a typical thinner luxury vinyl plank. Very sturdy, sounds like real wood. Feels great, not too shiny, cleans up very well. We are very, very happy with this product. Once we get the trim in, we've got a little bit of caulk to do here and there, but otherwise I think this project is done. I hope you learned something in this video. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments down below. Make sure you hammer that thumbs up button. Subscribe so that you don't miss all of the other fantastic videos on this mega kitchen remodel. I'm DIY Tyler. You guys have a good one.